So after our conversation yesterday, I had an idea about the topic for our second podcast. We were talking about spirituality, which is a little bit confusing subject at the moment. And I thought that we will do episode about coming out of the box. What is spirituality? What is spirituality for you? What is spirituality for me? Because I understand and I know that it can be something different for anyone. But there's this broad picture, at least what I saw when I came into this spiritual world, that all you have to do is basically just float around, manifest, and expect things to come to you. What do you think about that, Beata?
What spirituality is, or the new age aspect of it?
Well, I didn't know there was a difference, actually. I didn't know there was a new age or old age, whatever. So maybe start with explaining the difference.
For me, spirituality is a strange word in itself, but I think if you want to address it properly, for me, spirituality is basically having contact with something rather than just single pointed view of you being just this person and identifying yourself with what you do rather than with something much greater, much greater. And for me, spirituality is embodiment, like living the essence of who you are, being able to go beyond the roles, beyond the physical experience of just the things you need to do accomplished, and just being able to live as a soul on the mission, like having this playfulness of enjoying yourself, experiencing yourself without losing your essence, without external validation, the need of to be something in order to survive or accomplish, but just, like spirituality for me is being the greatest not even version, but just the authentic self, experiencing yourself in every possible way with joyfulness, but also responsibility of your input into the world, because we have such a big impact of everything that we are coming in contact with. If we're just going to be aware of it and enjoying ourselves without the energy of shortages, just to be here and play the life the best we can in a way that is joyful, that's spirituality.
Amazing. Because what happened to me when I started awakening, when I don't know if you can be fully awakened, but I started connecting with my soul, with, I don't know, maybe the spirit's world. There was a connection to the what I called aliens, but I know now that it's higher frequency beings. And I never had a clue about that before. I mean, I did, as a child, I was always interested in paranormal activities, in ghosts, in aliens. I was always curious about that. But then obviously, growing up in a traditional family in Poland, Catholic, we never spoke about it, nobody ever spoke about anything like that. Like, when I was buying those magazines about this stuff, about paranormal activities, my father told me it was bullshit and told me to stop buying it. So then when I started awakening, all of this came back to me. Like, and I don't know now if it's new age or if it's, the other stuff, but like, connecting with the high frequency beings, with star families. What do you think about that before we go on to the next part, how to, when somebody awakens, how to kind of like get back on planet Earth, get grounded, because that's something else that I see most people kind of forget about. They ascend, so they live in the, I want to say, higher realms, but they don't come back to live on the planet Earth in this density, in this realm. So does it make sense what I'm saying? Can you get something out of it?
Oh yeah, there is a lot of aspects of it, and it's in itself very multidimensional what you are saying. It's basically the stages of perception, because we all know that there is, I mean, intuitively you always having this suspicion that there is something more. But we ended up in a planet Earth, on planet Earth, where we have the confusion is the weapon. The spirituality is weaponized. The religions are weaponized. This is basically being used against us. And let me explain, because this is where this is getting really interesting. We as a species, we have this connection to something much greater. And that's very obvious because you are much more than just this body. But then we have these divisions, like we are being divided, like being atheists. Like there are people saying like, this is just you. When you dead, that's it, my love. You're not going anywhere and you stop existing. Okay, I'm not going to judge this. Is a point of view. There are people who are very religious and they have this need of connecting to something greater because they feel that there is something. They have this need to connect to something. And then they being brainwashed by religion to put something greater outside of themselves and to connect into something bigger because, oh my God, you are not trustworthy. You were born as a sinner to begin with. So who are you to, you are not God. You just go on, and occasionally you need this middle person to connect with something bigger. And then you have those people who are going and jump into new age stuff, like having the need to communicate with aliens, communicate, I don't know, channeling stuff and running with the sage and smudging. But also this is like the idea that everything is outside of you. And in order to go for something bigger, you need to go and search outside. And, we happen to have a lot of information that partially is true, but very distorted in the end of the day. And we don't know what to believe. And especially, when I was little and I went to school, I don't know in your time, but they were saying like, okay, you've got this biology where they said like you are stemming from the apes, and then 2 hours later you've got this religion lessons for classes like about the Bible, and they said like, okay, so my love, there is a God and he created you to his image, and you basically, they were those two people, Adam and Eva, and Eva happened to exist because of the rape of Adam, and and I've got this like error on both cases because I was really offended to hear that somebody is saying me like you are basically an ape. My eternal GPS said like this is BS. Please, I'm not buying it. And then the same school, few hours later, feed you with something different. So this is confusion that they're using to manipulate people. But we have, doesn't matter what you are searching for, either this is channeling or going and praying in the church on your knees. I think this is something saying about us as species that we are really hungry to connect with this invisible force that is creating life, and we happen to be brainwashed that we are not trustworthy and we are not searching for it in ourselves. And you have also people who are running and saying like, okay, I am the God source in myself, look at me. It's also ego based, so we are very confused with finding the balance of trying to understand all of it, make something of it beyond the need to connect or escape something which is outside of you. And if you can just, go, and I happen to study like all those hermetics and ancient texts. And for me, this was very normal that you just go and search like incarnations and stuff. What I have learned is that I am a being beyond the time and space. So even the alien stories, Earth happened also to be one of the planet hanging around in the space. So you are alien as well, right? So why are we dividing ourselves, like putting into boxes and trying to catch up with something just for the idea of escapism? It's much more easier when we accept you are this individualized God spark and you are trying to make an experience in order to enrich yourselves by being human. I believe that we are all coming from one spot, one place, one kind of energy, and we are in experiencing ourselves by individualizing ourselves. So in the end of the day, we are one, but we are different because we happened to willing this for the experience of experiencing life. And it's like with us, you can read a lot of beautiful knowledge, which will be just knowledge, but this is not your experience. So this is very interesting game, like before every experience you've got, you went and you tried out stuff, right? Like you didn't read in a book just only by about swimming in the ocean. You went to the ocean and you swam. And now we have this internet which is showing you all those content, like the media. So we are not experiencing anymore. We are being blocked in our connection of experiencing life as God in flesh. So I think the embodiment is the spirituality that you can go fully express yourselves and nobody can tell you what is on the other side, neither me or you. But I think if we just live this life without fear and experiencing as much as possible, in a way, the mission will be accomplished. That's the spirituality, us being human as souls and not other way around. Does this
Yeah.
answer your question or
Oh yeah, I mean, it's amazing, and it does answer my question, because yeah, I felt like, growing up as a child and then as a teenager, I was always very confused. Like I don't have a lot of like memories from my childhood, but they're coming back to me. So just now, like I remember that as a child, I felt really connected to God, and I would go to the church every Sunday. I loved going to the church. But then when I was 16, something changed. I went to the church and then the priest started talking about politics. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, why is he talking about this stuff in this, sacred space? And on that day, I decided that I will not come back and I stopped going to the church. So then I told myself that I don't believe anything. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in anything. We are animals. We just like more evolved, but we are animals. We just being born and then we die and that's it. There's nothing after. So that's what I told myself. And that's what I started believing in. So I spent most of my life believing that.
But maybe it's also a stage which is needed for your expansion because, the greatest illusion on earth in itself is this illusion of separation. And sometimes you need to really dissociate yourself from something to experience that you feel very lonely and that you are not being fed with something which is beyond the food and external validation. Disconnection is something that keeps you alive, and probably that's also searching. And it's nothing wrong with this in itself until you feel really miserable because you feel very lonely. And I don't know if you know this feeling, but I was always connected to something bigger and I couldn't understand why I am feeling so horribly lonely among the people without being the sense of belonging, this big separation. But, it was in the end of the day, it took me like, I don't know, 47 years to come to this conclusion that this separation is me not willing to fully embrace this life as experience, to inhabit my own body, and just being happy to be human in itself. Like, you know, everything that I have was missing for like entire life was because I've got this big feeling of separation from, I don't know, myself as whole. I didn't see any joyfulness in being human. I felt trapped. It felt like, why I am doing this. Sometimes it's very lonely journey when you are awake to other aspects and you see
Mm.
just regular people enjoying life. And I just couldn't believe, like, okay, people, so you never just slow down and think, like, is there something more? Am I just human and having those roles, like being mama, being coworker, being my own boss, being my own, you know, friend or whatever? And then you start asking those questions and everything feels so abstract. It might be very confusing because if you do not grab this connection and fully you and appreciate yourself for just being human and give yourself ticket to play on earth, that's maybe it. I wasn't never feeling here at home, so I was always like observing life and not really fully engaged into it. And it's such a shame because there is so much brilliance that is not being shown, lived. You're just surviving. And that's, I think, most people do. We are just
Yes.
surviving this game.
Yes, amazing. And we all have that brilliance.
Yeah,
We all have geniuses inside.
we do.
We just need to rediscover them. And yes, what you said really resonated with me. That feeling of isolation, of not matching anyone, like of being different. I had that feeling most of my life. And even though I was always surrounded by people because I worked in hospitality for 20 years, like running busy pubs in London. I was always surrounded by people, but I always felt very lonely. I always felt different. I numbed those feelings with alcohol a lot. And then even like when I went to therapy, the therapist explained that it was my low self-esteem, my low self-worth. But now I know it wasn't only that. It was basically me being disconnected from myself. It was me not embracing myself, hiding behind the fear behind those like not even acknowledging those different aspects of me that wanted my attention, that wanted to integrate. And only now I'm starting like, well, yeah, feeling whole. Like this is my place, I chose to be here. I'm here to I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn about myself. I'm here to discover. And that kind of like feeling of not belonging is almost gone.
Yeah, that's basically what you are saying, like this connection into your own greater aspects. I don't know how to call it. It might be your soul for some people, or the God spark, or just your higher awareness. If you just feel connected vertically, you are not so vulnerable in trying to figure out everything and searching for your place, belonging, your tribe, and validation in horizontal plane, right?
Yeah.
I think that's very important for us people to realize that we are such an intelligent species. We can accomplish a lot of things, but if we do not connect to something which is placing us in our bodies. We always gonna go and try to extract only things which are here in this plane and build on things which are already existing and copying each other and trying to approve ourselves and believing in shortages, thus being competitive. Look what happened to women, that we cannot go hand with hand by hand and do great things. We always gonna see each other as a threat because there is not enoughness everywhere. It's just this belief like everything is limited, like all resources, every niche, idea, and we are really being afraid to let go of things and just let it come to us naturally. We're just gonna go and improve and trying to figure out. This is like really close container with energy that is circulating just here. But if you just being bold enough to connect to something greater, the ideas are coming from really different place and they are game-changing ideas. Sometimes even ideas we are not even ready for. And I don't know if you have seen this beautiful phenomena that when one person figures out something really profound, really like beautiful new idea, the same idea is being discovered in a different country, different part of the world, because the ideas are not ours. Your thoughts are not in your head. Everything is like, I don't know, call it clouds. So if we're just willing to connect to there without limitation, there is much more than we can handle to embody, to explore, because there is so much new. The novelty is not among the people. We just extracting things. So every person who is really blocked and not being able to step out of the models of the limitation of your upbringing or whatever, I think the only one solution is to go in silence and feel the things that are running you, to recognize how much disconnection, how much fragmentation there is. And we never gonna find ourselves by searching among the people. They can mirror you, they can give you maybe clue, they can maybe give you love of encouragement, but it's always pretty solo journey to connect to yourself. And but when you do so, you're never gonna feel alone. And I believe strongly that root of every disease or situation which is not pleasant is disconnection from your higher aspect.
Yes. And exactly as you said, it takes bravery. It takes courage, because you really need to start looking at yourself, start running away from yourself, start looking, like you said, at things, at the aspects that are blocking you. You know, for me, something bad had to happen for me to finally wake up and start changing. Because for most of my adult life, I would just numb myself with a lot of alcohol, with parties, with, being surrounded by people all the time. So I don't see into myself.
Yeah, and this is such a beautiful thing to mention because we don't want to see this maybe in different way. We see addictions as a problem of individuals who are not willing to commit to life, or they just destroying life of other people. But in the end of the day, I think this is a very spiritual thing. When people go and numb themselves and they become alcoholic, usually those people are very fragile, very aware, spiritually aware, and they are longing for connection with something broader. They have no feedback in the surroundings from people. Maybe they feel different. And it happened that when we use alcohol or drugs, somehow we can see behind the veils where you have, at the moment that you are drunk or maybe stoned, this different perception of reality where you more connected to something different. And I think that's why people are numbing, because they cannot take this heaviness of this life. And when they numb themselves, they just can approach like something divine. Because I don't know, when I was drunk few times, or I did use also psychedelics, I could feel that this veil is really dissolving and I have access to something much more intelligence. And it gave me really feeling like I am at home. So it's very easy to go in this direction if you cannot control it, or if you do not have reason enough to stay human without any distraction. So I think
Yeah.
spiritual people are more fragile for having addictions. And those are very, very sensitive people.
Yeah, I think we are all spiritual, but then some of us are more sensitive. And as you said, I think the sensitive people are more prone to addiction. Is that what you?
Yes, and not even, sometimes you can be very um, intuitive, very sensitive, but you might be very lucky that you are being belonging into the family that gave you space and safety. And if you feel safe enough to be yourself, you just gonna go and explore yourself in a different way than in surroundings where your nervous system shut down and doesn't know how to cope anymore with anything. Just numb yourself and escape, trying to for a little bit have this break from this reality. So this is like another
Yeah.
big topic. And
Oh, yeah.
but we are talking about like substances, but also overworking with high performance. It's also addiction. That's also escapism. As long as you have something to focus on so much that
Overtraining
there
is
is no
escaping.
time.
Yeah, overworking. I don't know, overstudying. Everything over
Yeah, buying
is escaping, isn't it?
stuff, going to the
Yeah.
casino, having too much sex, having all those Botox treatments and surgeries. It's
Yeah.
just the same thing. This is like we cannot cope with, people have so much anxieties. What are those people doing by changing their body, like putting plastic in it? This is also fear of getting older, because then you are closer to the death. We are so afraid of something we cannot imagine, we have no idea about, right? That's why some people drinking because they are afraid of life, but other people trying to
Yeah.
escape the death by, making those longevity things, biohackings. And I think this is just the same thing, is that we are feeling lonely and afraid and confused and divided and not
Yeah.
appreciated, not safe to be us.
Yeah. Yeah. So we started the conversation talking about spirituality. So, yes, so I think part of spirituality is like when we ascend, when we get connected, it also to get grounded again. Because that was my process as well. I awakened, I thought I was a master of the universe. I thought everything I think is possible. But then I landed back on planet Earth when it doesn't work quite like that. So I needed to kind of bring that new knowledge that I have back on earth, back to the system. And I think that's is what a lot of like spiritual people, I want to like quote spiritual people are missing because they live out there, but they don't come back with this new knowledge into the system where we actually function.
Yeah, because spirituality is another addiction and escapism, if you are not able to embody and just be human. Because, you know, I'm going to tell you something that I believe. I don't know if that's resonate with you, but we are I believe that we are the souls who are returning into incarnations to experience life, and some of them are really great lessons, some are repeating itself. It's another story for another day, but there is also a logic to it. And the purpose of it all is to be human. Because if you see in the spectrum of eternity, right? There is only a blink of an eye is your life for a soul. It's like just this fragile moment, this possibility to being aware of everything as human, to experience being touched, the food, the people, this dense matter, this physical matter. So I don't think that we are stepping down here to willing to escape, because in your essence you are this great avatar, full reloaded with superpowers, with this consciousness. You are spark of a God source placed into your body. So why on earth you will be willing to escape this body to something that you are in your essence eternal, ever going? Just enjoy the moment. It's like having this beautiful taste of a cake on the birthday party. It's just this moment. Just enjoy it, embrace it. If you eat it, do not feel guilty. Just go for it. Have this experience. Enjoy it, and it's going to be beautiful memory. And you know, if we are willing to evolve as species, I think we need to really go and sit with each other and to figure out why we are here, why we are interacting with each other, what is the purpose of us being here, and stop losing the time for escapism, being divided, being competitive. And of course, that's also maybe an experience, but I think we are all here to embody this beautiful, big aspect of ourselves so that we can become conscious creators while being in these bodies and not other way around. We have these superpowers which we are forgetting about, but what if we just stop fighting but try to cooperate with each other in order to utilize this knowledge while being human and be the game changers? Otherwise, if you are not running the show, something else will. And look for how many centuries we are having just wars, and there is a certain group of people running the show, using the fear, making us small, divided, and we are just trying to survive and not being aware of the creation that is possible and that we are part of this. We are consciously choosing minute by minute the free will aspect. Wouldn't it be beautiful that you are so aware how powerful you are by creating through your thoughts, to your energy you're spreading, and make beautiful things way beyond our imagination, because there is so much possible, and yet we are limited by fear to repeating the cycles of drama. And I think drama, that's a big word on earth that is really dividing us from our higher aspects, because the focus is not at the right place. That's what I am strongly believing.
Yes. And this is exactly why we created the Inner Architecture Academy, because that's what we want to help women with. That's what we are going through. Because to be in that state that you described, it needs a bit of restructuring of our inner blueprint. It needs a little bit of learning how to navigate through the different situations, different emotions, different states. And that's what we will be sharing here with you.
Yes, and can you imagine, wouldn't it be beautiful? Wouldn't you like to be fully present, enjoying life while having absolute indespeakable power of co-creating new realities, enjoying life from joyfulness and without scarcity, in healthy body, aware of yourself, being aware of who you are, what you are willing, knowing your boundaries, being healthy, and going out there and just being maybe even pay a lot for just being you, for standing in your own energy, losing the drama, and having this softness, this aliveness. And from this place, going and building, making creations, seeing yourself, learning about yourself, becoming aware, and everywhere being able to plug into this stream of energy. We call this organic creation mechanics, but you can imagine this stream of energy where there is no shortage, where there is awareness and also responsibility you are taking, you are having, but not from place of performing and need to accomplish and being competitive, but just this awareness of, the if you want to play a game and enjoy it and maybe even being able to create it as you go and win, you need to know the rules. And if you know the rules, you need to be able to carry it with your nervous system, with your essence. And wouldn't it be nice if you are so strong without the old fashioned strongness that you go by will of power, but being just strong because you are so connected to your aspects that you are fully aware what you are doing. And if you go and being playful, it's even more joyful because you are doing this consciously. You are allowing to just be. I think maybe this is something we want to give. I know
Yeah,
for sure this is what we
it's,
want to give.
everybody is talking about, just stay in your power, stay in your power. So it's like, what power? For me, it's like now it's just being absolutely your true self. This is the power.
Yes.
Knowing what you want, knowing exactly what you want, staying within those boundaries with yourself and with others. It's not what with boundaries. Sometimes we think boundaries are like walls, but they're not. It's about, protecting who you are, knowing who you
Not
are.
even protecting. I have this beautiful metaphor for it. I don't know. I think I did share it with you this one time. And for me, being human, like the spirituality is to fully being human and enjoying everything without losing yourself. It's like the metaphor with the water. The water always knows what it is. It can goes everywhere. If you have like water goes on your floor, automatically it takes shapes of everything around without losing itself. Water will always be water. It's just it is able to take any shape, whatever, and it is flowing and going and can even craft the stones as it goes without any force, with the softness. It's always been powered by the stream in one direction. That's the soul. It knows where it goes. It doesn't try to go against the stream. It just goes. It can just become anything it wants without losing the essence. And I think this is spirituality.
Yeah, like Bruce Lee said, be like water.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, martial artist here. So yeah, Bruce Lee, one of my favorite characters. So yeah, be like water, my friend. Yeah, that's beautiful, beautiful metaphor.
And Marta,
Okay, we talked about a lot of different aspects today. We talked a lot about different subjects. Um, what's our core message for today to leave our audience with?
be like water. That's, I think, really beautiful, something to go and feel and trying to stay with this, because we women, especially women, we are carrying so much strength by the willpower. We are being a lot of things at once. But from what I have noticed across working for 2 decades, working with women, we are losing ourselves. And in the end of the day, we don't know who we are, what we are wanting. And we are even, maybe it sounds crazy, but we can give ourselves so much to such a degree that you are even adapting someone else's dreams, thinking that they are your own.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was about to add, that to be like water, you need to know who you are.
Yes.
And you need to know exactly what you want, where you want, not even like where you want to go, but like the direction kind of. But
You
I
know,
think the main thing is to know who you are.
yes, and you know, everything is the journey. Just stay open for everything you are approaching, because if you are aware of your free will choice, you are always choosing. You can always go by different choice. It's not like you choose one thing and that's it. You can always say no. You can always say yes. You can always say wait. Maybe not now. I will come back to it. And if you know yourself, you don't make the choices because you feel guilty or obligated, but you make them from very different place and you will flow as a river.
Yeah, exactly. Water doesn't flow where it can't flow, it flows where it finds the space.
Yeah.
So it's about being open to possibilities, being brave enough to take risks.
Yes, and you know, there is this beautiful stream of this organic energy beyond this structure here. And if you are willing and you are brave enough to plug into the energy of explorer without knowing where you're going, because that's the new energy, it's so new. We don't know where we're going, but there is so much to explore. And if you just open for every and approach every situation with curiosity and without any fear, just be the observer and invite all of the things, because you know the new, I believe so that this new organic energy, it teach us to receive even things we might not be so happy with. Every situation is an invitation. And if you are not willing to just, you know, like let it run and make your conscious choices, you are blocking things. So just be open. Try to be open. Go with this energy of novelty. We don't, beyond our human imagination. If you are willing to, you know, lose yourself, maybe even your identity, because for some of us, our things we do, we associate so much that you think you are it. But if you just brave enough to lose yourself in not knowing who you are, you're gonna embrace much more of your authentic essence than going by the safety and being the CEO or whatever you are thinking, this mom. And when I ask you, Marta, can you introduce yourself? I am, and then you are saying what you are doing. No, you are not what you are doing. Who are you? So the question is, connect into your eternal flow and ask yourself, who are you? Because if you know who you are, then it's easy to know what you are willing and wanting.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think that's the perfect way to finish this conversation.
Yes, and also the invitation
Um,
maybe just, who says which topic is appropriate to go by. And we were not planning to make this conversation. We were just like connecting and having this beautiful conversation about our next steps, what we're gonna do in order to be coherent. And this is conversation that just came up, and also for us, we are just being daring to place this conversation in a world of women who are high performing, and we believe like there is definitely space for conversation like this, because everything that is able to open up the space for something new, for something to ponder about, for something that might just reveal something which is hidden inside of you and you are not daring to speak about, whatever the topic is, go for it.
yes, exactly. We are being very spontaneous today because we are like water.
Yeah.
Yes. And, we talk about it because that's what we do. We left our lives. we are heading into the unknown. We are doing it. So we're not only teaching from the textbooks that we read, the materials that we study. We are we are sharing, teaching our own lived experience and something that we truly believe in and something that we live by.
And also something that we are willing to explore because, we are also open to change our minds and grow. And right now,
Yeah.
we're sharing something that we are believing is very resonating in our reality, but there is space for changing our mind, to modify it. And it's not failure, it's growth. When you are willing to lose the sets of ideas that run in your life and just go by another possibility and just explore it. Might be nothing, but might be very enriching.
Yeah, it's always a lesson, isn't it? It's always an information.
And it's always an invitation.
And it's always an invitation.
So
So, Beata, thank you very much for this amazing conversation. Is there anything you want to add?
I think we have said so much. So I just wish, that everyone is approaching this episode with openness, without judgment, because judgment is limiting us in a growth. And just go and feel, because woman, you are so much more than you can imagine. Just open up the gates of your awareness without any fear of being judged, because you are beautiful. And I always wish to meet every woman from her essence. I don't need to see how good performing you are and how much money you have on your bank account. I want to see you, because you is the very gift for every other woman and human on this earth. So let's meet.
Amazing. Beata,
Thank
thank you very much. And you ladies, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for being here with us. And we invite you to subscribe to our channel, to like the podcast if you liked it. We also invite you to comment below, ask us questions. We would love to answer all the questions that you might have, that might have arisen while listening to this. And yeah, we will leave you with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
In an architecture academy.